I feel like we're at the brink of a Donkey Kongaseunce. With him finally getting a new game, getting a brand new roller coaster ride, and reports of a solo movie in development, our original Mario villain turned banana-loving adventurer is finally getting the love he deserves. But before they rebooted one of his random series, and before they rebooted the series I want to talk about, then porting it again, before you needed bongos to play his games, before there was a hit rap song about his crew,
Here we go.
and even before he had his own show, Rareware developed a series that not only put Donkey Kong on the map, but launched Rare into a legendary run for themselves, with brilliant and amazing visuals, music and atmosphere that makes your monkey hair stand up, and a difficulty curve so hard that it would go on to give a whole generation of children gamers some hardcore trauma. Now, I didn't personally grow up playing these games per se. I might have played like 5 total levels across the entire series my whole life, because I didn't own a SNES growing up. The only chance I ever had playing it was at other people's houses, so I never really had a chance of beating them on my own. Their legend of how amazing and difficult these games are has always surrounded the aura of these games. So what better time than now to take a look back at Rare's Donkey Kong Country series. This was the first game to introduce pre-rendered 3D animation. This was also the first time we see Donkey Kong in his superior design.
Look how they massacred my boy.
The game starts with this iconic intro showing that Cranky Kong is the original Donkey Kong, and I really love that. I feel like this is showing that this is a whole new generation of Kong. They're really turning the page from what we knew before this. And the story is simple enough that even I can understand it. Donkey Kong banana gone, Donkey Kong wanna go get banana. You side scroll across 40 different levels in co-op or solo play. Of course, you can take a wild guess how I played. Regardless of how you play, this first game is just a ton of fun. No matter when you play this, back in the day, today, tomorrow, 20 years from now, the imagery is just so gripping. It immediately pulls you in. There's this charm that is very rare to find in games anymore. I mean, even look at the promo art. I love just looking at these. There's usually just so much going on. I love the scenes that they're acting out, the weird glossy 3D models just kind of call to me, the cartoony features, the textures, the color palette, and how vibrant the colors are. This not only shows how far we've come graphically, but it also feels like it captures where we were at that specific time. I just really love this artwork. I mean, look at this. Tell me you don't want to monkey around. One thing I actually didn't notice all these years was that the DK on his tie is missing. It wasn't featured in these first games. It was a change that was made not until the port of Donkey Kong Country for the Game Boy Color in 2000. But to this day, this game still features super fluid animations. I think it holds up very well. But what the Donkey Kong Country series does the best, maybe across the history of gaming, is establishing atmosphere. Everything just works so well together to translate what's on screen directly to your brains. You can almost feel the level, feel what went on there. But I will say that some levels do go too hard in the atmosphere, like some of the snow levels where there's just so much snow falling you can't see shit, which in turn adds to the difficulty. But the element that ties it all together brilliantly is the music. David Wise composed the music, and it's just, I mean, what, top 10 all time? Every single song is a head bobber. The use of the drums, the bass, the piano, and flutes is just, man. I'm not even saying anything about it, but it just speaks for itself, dude. I mean, just fucking listen. Simeon Segway kind of sounds like a jungly version of the Peanut song, just by how hard the piano goes. DK Island Swing, I mean, oh my god. Dude, the water level aquatic ambiance is legendary. I don't do drugs, cause I'm a good boy. But this song makes me want to lick a toad or something and just listen to this shit for hours and see what happens. I feel like I'll either float away or piss and shit my pants. I think out of the 3 Donkey Kong countries, the first one has the most iconic music. It's all fantastic across the board, but I just simply think that the first one is the best. The character switching is a brilliant mechanic, and the use of each Kong is great. They look different, so I like that they established that there's actually some differences between them in the gameplay. Donkey Kong has a bigger hitbox, but he can kill bigger enemies with one hit, where with Diddy it may take 2 or maybe even 3, but he's also a bit faster and has a smaller hitbox, which because of his size and speed, I end up preferring Diddy over Donkey Kong. I also like how chill the collectibles are here. You know, before the count of the collectibles got to be so big it ended up in the Guinness Book of World Records. But here you got the bananas, the letters that spell out Kong, balloons, and golden animal tokens. The hidden rooms that also give you the opportunity to earn even more lives are pretty cool, but to find them really require a lot of leaps of faith. Or like I found a couple of them just by accident. Like I feel like without some sort of guide, they would almost seem impossible to find. You know, back in the day, you really had to fully consume games to 100% complete them. Now there's just so many guides and things that really hold your hand to do them. Damn, I really sound like Cranky right now. One thing I will agree with critics of this game is that it has pretty bad screen crunch. Your character is a little bit too close. I did wish that we were pulled that back just a little bit. It also feels like the camera is slower than the Kongs. Like when you're running really fast is like trying to catch up with you. And they're evil with this stuff too. I think this is one of the major reasons for the difficulty because they be hiding enemies slightly off screen or setting you up, especially when you're on a roll like running super fast and bouncing on a couple Kremlings at a time. They be getting you with a bunch of cheap kills, maybe like placing a banana to make you jump and then all of a sudden a bee shows up and it's like, what? I've been flying around here the whole time. Yeah, right, fool. You f***ing liar. That's really what got me in this game the most is what you can't see. I might have been a little bit extra with the difficulty, but I feel like you still need some skill to be able to beat this game. The skill is really simply timing and repetition and knowing what's ahead. For example, the minecart level, all you're doing is really just jumping. But it's still tough. If you are a completionist, you need to mix some patience in there as well. Because if you miss an opportunity to get something, sometimes it's simply gone. Like maybe you have to use an enemy to reach a higher point, and sometimes they don't respawn after you accidentally kill them. So to try again, you have to back out. Using the barrels is another very fun mechanic, and the different types of barrels as well. When you have to throw a barrel and hit a bunch of dudes feels really satisfying, but to shoot yourself out of a barrel, the timing and the aiming of it is still pretty terrifying to this day. It's accurate, but they put so much crap sometimes in front of you, you get kind of scared because you don't want to screw up. I love how each stage shows so much personality and how complex it can get with such simple controls and the goal of just simply moving to the right. It's a brilliant platformer that obviously holds up today. The enemies are simple as well. The beavers are really goofy. You have your original and less annoying Claptrap. The different Kremlings, each with their own forms of attack. Of course, you can't forget about Donkey Kong, who looks like he has rabies or some shit. The bosses aren't too crazy. You get 2 beavers, 2 vulture heads, a bee, a toxic barrel, and finally King K. Rool. I never really understood why he always wanted Donkey Kong's bananas. I don't think crocodiles are really known for eating nanners. I really like the false finish at the end with K. Rool. It literally got me, like I let go of the control and everything. This final boss fight was the toughest, and the rest were more fun and simple than difficult. All you have to do is like bop them in the head. Of course, I can't forget about the animal buddies, my favorite being Rambi the Rhino for obvious thicky reasons. And Espresso the Ostrich was pretty dope too because he's wearing Jordans. Their inclusion makes a whole lot of sense. They help you unlock a hidden room maybe, or get past a pesky enemy. The fact that you can ride them is something so simple that adds a ton to the gameplay. I really love the little things in games, little details like how Kongs react while interacting with their animal friends, or even when they're just idle standing there. These characters are simply so expressive. And also, look at the tits on Donkey. Speaking of tits, the other Kongs that are here to help are also great. We get the first appearance of Candy and Funky, and Cranky has his cabins where he bitching at Donkey about something all the time. But he actually does provide tips to where to find some of the hidden stuff. Donkey Kong Country 1 is a great starting point for the series. It does a lot of things right that still hold up today. The music is beyond iconic and the visuals are so charming that will also hold up for a long time. A year later, in 1995, they came out with what most believe to be the best game in the series and even one of the best SNES games of all time.
system that keeps pounding out the hits. Super NES. Donkey Kong Country 2, Diddy's Conquest. It's even tougher than the original.
Donkey Kong Country 2 Diddy's Conquest is the best example as to how to do a sequel, improving on what the first game did, adding and changing things only for the better, improving the graphics, adding more levels and more things to do and collect while bumping up the difficulty even more. In Diddy's Conquest, King K. Rool, who's a pirate now for some reason, has monkey napped Donkey Kong, and it's up to Diddy and his girlfriend Dixie to save him. It might not seem like a big deal now, but imagine back then pitching a Donkey Kong Country 2 game with no playable Donkey Kong. Even though I thought most people did prefer to use Diddy over Donkey Kong anyways, still, it's kind of crazy. On top of that, you're introducing this new girl Kong? Like what? Bro, it's the 90s. Girls don't play games. Why are you putting girls in? I do like that the new guy in the series is the old guy in the next game, always feeling like it's attempting to keep things fresh. But I wonder if at the time they knew that they were actually making the best character in the series. And if you think otherwise, you're wrong. Sorry about it. Dixie Kong is the best, simply because she floats, which is the best ability for platformers. She has a smaller hitbox. Yeah, she's a tad slower than Diddy, but her floating is so clutch. And with so much more in the levels that can kill you, she's easily the best character to play as. The screen crunch is still there, so the same type of cheapy bullshit kills will happen eventually, but I still think that they improved the camera. It doesn't feel like it's chasing you a whole lot. It's not trying to keep up as bad as it did in the first game. The atmosphere and the theme this time around is pirates. Sort of. There are 8 worlds you go to, and the environments and levels range from spooky swamps to abandoned sunken ships to beehives and vines. Okay. The promo art for this game really shows that. God, I just love these so much. Of course, the music is once again a banger. David Wise cooked again. The map song is great. Welcome to Crocodile Isle. It's a bit spooky, yet there's like a little bit of pirate in there. In every song, there's a little bit of a spooky factor to it. It's more menacing than the first. It's really fantastic. Let me know down in the comments which of the 3 games has the best music. What's your favorite song? I think that because there's just so many great tunes, I really doubt there's like an overwhelming best song. The reason for this game being bigger and better than the first game is that there's more things to interact with and collect. I did like that it cost coins that were free in the previous game, like getting hints or even saving the game, really forcing you to collect at least a couple coins. We get a new Kong and Swanky. This game show host looking sleazeball has a quiz for you where you can potentially win more coins, and also Wrinkly Kong where she gives advice and where you can find certain things and you can save the game here. They added more barrels that plop you in more types of minigames, like Defeat All or Race to the End or Find the Tokens. There's a really healthy variety of these fun minigames that reward you with collectibles. And the collectibles are obviously essential to unlock the hidden levels and to get the prestigious 102% completion. The secrets are a bit more, I don't want to say easy, but their placement makes more sense. Maybe there's an arrow of bananas pointing you to nowhere and they force you to take a leap that way. Compared to the first one, they're just more sensible. The change at the end of the level with the roulette flag thing, I thought it was cool, but it could also be a bit evil as well. Sometimes they're hiding a Kong letter there, and if you don't get it, well, you gotta go back and try to beat the level again. Although, watching them celebrate is worth it to me. Rare knew what they were doing by making this game harder. That's why they put in a Mario Star-like item that grants invincibility for a short period of time. Like I said, there's more that can kill you. The way the levels are designed to trick you into doing something that can lead you to your own death. It's almost like the game's going, come on, you can get it. Or you can go that way, it's safe. There's nothing over there. And then all of a sudden something pops out and gets you. There's more verticality in this game as well with climbing levels. Plus there's more environmental things that want to kill you, like toxic water chasing you up, all that kind of stuff. There's just more dodging to do here. For example, the bramble levels require patience and accuracy, which might be the toughest levels in the whole series. I personally love the skull cluster levels because how twisted is it that you're riding a skull and the ghost chasing you is pretty cool. It's just a different twist on your classic minecart levels. You definitely need even more skill and patience to beat this game over the first one. The legend of the difficulty is more intimidating than the actual game. The extra emphasis on the animal buddies was a brilliant move, adding a ton more like the spider with the Jordans and some other ones like the anglerfish that kind of just follows you. But the ones that you actually use are pretty cool, like like the rattlesnake that bounces. In some levels, the changos themselves completely transform into the animal buddies, which is different than mounting them for some reason. They also get mini games and battles as well, like races and stuff, and I like that. These aren't terribly difficult like the rest of the game is. A lot of the same enemies are back, but there's also a ton of new ones, mainly different colored Kremlings, from annoying guys in these barrels to these buff dudes with clubs to these buff dudes that can take more than one hit. I don't think I found any particular enemy to be annoying. It's more how they were placed within the level that makes them annoying. Definitely the bosses are way better this time around, not just because they don't really repeat. There's just simply more to the fight. There's more dodging, picking things up, opening them up for an attack, throw stuff at them. It's just simply more elaborate. And same goes for the Rool fight at the end. It's harder, and there's way more to it. Diddy's Conquest is way more than a clever name. It manages to improve upon the original, upping the difficulty and the amount of things to collect, and with its genius platforming level design, it's not only one of the best sequels ever made, it may be one of the best platformers, period.
Something wild is coming. Something you wouldn't expect. It's Donkey Kong Country 3 starring Diddy Kong. Uglier bosses, incredible levels, and graphics you won't believe.
How do you follow 2? Well, a year later they tried by releasing what is known as the ugly duckling of the series. But it's only viewed that way comparatively to the other two. It's not actually a bad game at all, it's quite fun. Following the new guy is the old guy formula. Diddy and Donkey Kong have been captured by King K. Rool, and it's up to Dixie and her cousin Diddy Kong to save them. Now, if you will indulge me for a minute, I have a serious question to ask. Why does everyone hate Diddy Kong? What the f did he do?
It's just a baby.
I don't get the hate. And it's real, because I don't remember seeing him in anything else ever. The internet says because of his appearance and personality. He's a baby. How do you want him to act? People usually love this strong, dumb baby that doesn't know its own capabilities. So what's the problem here? And his appearance is cute as hell. He kinda cute the same way bulldogs are cute. I mean, his onesie's too big. I love how there's space at the end. Plus, as a chunky boy myself, I have a soft spot for tubbos. Speaking of chunky, the more I looked at him, the more I thought he was the Chunky. But also, according to the internet, he's Chunky's younger brother, which I did not know, if that's actually true. But hating this kid just because you would have preferred Donkey Kong instead is not fair. Now, I would agree. Does it make sense for Donkey Kong to only be playable in 1 out of the 3 games? No. He totally could have been a playable game here and have Diddy and Kiddy captured. But that wasn't the case. That doesn't mean Diddy Kong sucks. He basically has Donkey's abilities, which also fuels the argument that there's actually no point for him to be in there. But I don't think that makes him a bad character. Sure, his hitbox is bigger than Dixie's, but so would have Donkey's. I did like that throwing him can break things, which makes sense and it's kind of funny to do. Let me know your thoughts on Diddy Kong down below. But as far as the game goes, you can see that changes and additions were made to attempt to deliver something different or on the same level of Donkey Kong Country 2, but just a little bit different. And I personally don't think any of the changes made were particularly bad. They just simply don't hit the mark as well as they did in Donkey Kong Country 2. Take the atmosphere this time around. This game is set in what they call Northern Kremlings, drawing inspiration from parts of Northern Europe and Canada. I actually really like the idea. I love this setting. You're inside trees or in forest-like levels with waterfalls and snowy mountains. They didn't really seem to use any of these environments in the promos, but I still love them. Graphically, there's way more detail and better textures than the other 2 games, but it does seem like these environments repeat more often than in the past games. The screen crunch is still there. It does feel like the camera is chasing you a bit more, and it's kind of forcing you to be a little bit off-centered. Maybe they were doing the same thing in past games, but for some reason I noticed it more here. The music here is great, but I don't feel like any song reaches the heights of any of the songs in the previous 2 games. So again, in comparison, it falls short, but standing alone, it's pretty good. Your difficulty is still there, the cheap kills are still there, even some mega bullshit things like this stupid ass level with the lightning that I really hated. I do think the 3rd game overall might be the easiest out of the 3. I feel like I cheated less here. Yeah, I'm a fraud. I played this on the Switch, and I rewinded. a lot. So feel free to roast me in the comments. Yeah, I know I'm not a real one. I suck and all that. I deserve it. I mean, it's right there. How can I not use the rewind feature to save myself a ton of time? There are more little changes like removing the reward flag at the end to way bigger ones like adding a bit of freedom to the world map. Again, the idea of driving around the map free to explore any nook and cranny and sometimes being rewarded for it sounds great, but for some reason it just doesn't feel 100% right. And I can't put my finger on why it doesn't feel right. Maybe it doesn't fit this game. I like it, I don't disagree with it, but it's not something that puts this game over any of the other two. I like this idea, it's alright. Having to upgrade the boat to proceed through the map is fun. You know how they have Funky being the mechanic to do the upgrades is cool. Swanky in his circus tent where he has you going up against Cranky in minigames rewarding you with one of many different coins you collect is yet again something different and kind of cool. Of course, can't forget about Wrinkly either. She out here playing the new Nintendo 64 before anybody else. Too bad they killed her off for Donkey Kong 64. She didn't make it to 3D, that's sad. The bartering brother bears were interesting as well. You spend bear coins in exchange for services or random items that you can take to another bear to do their little side quests. There's also a banana bird you can help, a volcanic island to unlock, the K levels by getting all the Kong letters. There's a lot of more secrets and things to collect and unlock that add more playtime for the completionists who are seeking the coveted 103%. Those type of minigames I mentioned before return, you find your coins, kill everybody, that type of deal. And the animal buddies are back as well, introducing Elle, the elephant, and this bird that kind of follows you around. I was actually very impressed with how much Elle can do. She can shoot water, pick things up, throw things, run. She's involved in a boss fight. I first thought, man, they just don't want to use Rambi again, so they just put in this stupid ass elephant. She's gonna be the same thing. No, I was really wrong. There's actually way more to her. She's really, really cool. The rest of them are just, okay. The level with the spider and having you to shoot web while being chased, those are kind of tough and a bit of annoying. Or when they flip the controls on you while you're underwater is also a little bit annoying. But again, I understand. And I categorize these as attempts of something different. While these type of attempts work for Donkey Kong Country 2, maybe not all the changes work at the same level as they did for 3. And because 2 is so good, it makes 3 look worse than it actually is. They added a ton more enemies that are pretty weird looking, from new Kremlings to even more common enemies. There's just like a weird tone to the design to them. Even the bosses are a bit weirder, like this barrel with a mouth or this random robot. There's just a hint of weirdo going around. I wasn't expecting them to flip the camera behind the monkeys for these moments like the Simon Says or the snowball fight versus the Frosty, but the design of the boss fights are way fun this time around. They're definitely better than 1, and I can see people debating them being better than 2. Even in the final fight versus King K. Rool, that is dressed as Frankenstein now for some reason, and calling himself Baron K. Roolenstein. Even with a rushed production and the curse of releasing a couple months after the Nintendo 64, Donkey Kong Country 3 still managed to sell 3.5 million copies. Although not as successful as 2, it must have been kind of successful because a year later of its release, we got that weird ass Donkey Kong Country TV show, which maybe we can discuss some other time. Rare's Donkey Kong Country Trilogy is as legendary and iconic as ever, with their masterclass in atmosphere and straight up vibes leading the way. This art style and visuals just simply don't exist anymore. This timeless trilogy will live on forever because of the magic Rare managed to capture at that time. It is a welcoming challenge for newcomers and for those traumatized kids from the 90s who decide to give it another go. Those are my thoughts on this legendary series, but now I want to know yours down in the comments. Are you one of those traumatized children? Are the games nostalgic for you in any way? Maybe you even hate these games. Any and all Donkey Kong Country thoughts, let them fly down in the comments. And while you're down there, if you enjoyed this video, drop a like for me and consider subscribing for more videos like this. Thank you guys for watching. Remember to always and forever, you do you.